Good morning everybody, the E30 is here. Now, the last episode was a very special day, a very special day. But we're far from over, and we're far from many headaches as well. And today we've got a big headache to fix. And this is one of the things I'm actually probably most worried about trying to get to work, because it just looks like it's not gonna. So we got the engine in and we got it started. Thank you so much to Sam, if you remember the last episode. We love you, Sam. Now we've got to actually start getting it driving. We've got a lot to do today. First of all, we've got to take the rear subframe off the car. That's the second job. The first job is we need to get this steering arm fitted. And I'm really worried because the manifold's literally sat right in front of it. So we're gonna have to take the engine out. Not too bad, because I need to do a timing chain anyway, because I need to do a timing belt. The timing belt on this car, when we looked at the plugs, it's cracked all over the place, and it's definitely never been changed. So we've ordered the timing belt, so we're gonna pull the engine out to do that. Luckily, I thought it'd be a massive job on this. I watched a YouTube video and it was like a 40-minute video of how to do it. I'd say 25-30 minutes was just getting to the bit where we are now. You know, removing all the air conditioning, removing all the fans, removing all the lines, removing all the oil coolers, things like that. We're already there, so it's actually not going to take that too big of a job. We probably don't need to pull the engine out. But to get this manifold to fit around the steering knuckle, I think we're going to have to pull the engine out. Now, this isn't a problem just on the V8 swap. This is a problem when anybody tries to do any 2.5 or 2.8 conversion. The steering knuckle is always a big issue. Now, this is the standard E30 steering knuckle. It's got this big donut on it here, and that just hits everything. Now, some smart person realized that a Corsa C1 actually fits on one end and it's the right size, and also the Corsa C1s are, well, they should be. Ugh. Anyway, after an hour diversion, Corsa C1s are very similar, but a lot thinner. Now you have to modify them because you have to change the E30 end. So this is a stock one. This is a modified one, which someone's let me to see if it fits, but it's just got bad bearings in, so we can't use it. And this is a Corsa C1, which I've just spent an hour fixing. So these are the different steering knuckles. You can actually buy super thin ones, but they're like £300. This was 30 quid off eBay, and I think we can make this work. Well, first of all, we've got to see how much we need to actually chop off that manifold.
So the issue isn't actually this flange. The issue is up here. If I try and put the knuckle where it needs to be, right, it's hitting this bit. The flange actually isn't the issue. So what we're gonna have to do is we're gonna have to take the engine out, and we're gonna have to heat the living shit out of this, grind it down, you know, heat the living shit out of it and try to bend it back or flat it down. The thing is, we can't bend it too far over to the right, so we don't have that much clearance between there and the gearbox.
So we've got to pull the engine out. This is exactly why I haven't put the gearbox on already, because if I had put the gearbox on, this would have been a full day job. But without putting the gearbox on, I actually managed to get the whole engine out in about 15 minutes.
So trying to get the actual knuckle on while the engine's in is almost impossible. So what we're going to do is we're going to actually put the test knuckle on first. Leave it like that for now, because this is the main thing. If we can turn that, that's the main thing. If this, and then obviously we've got a little bit of, we could put our hand down there and have a bit of a play as well. So we'll leave it there like that for now, and then we're just going to get this bit to clear, this bit. Get the power tools out and the heating out, and we're going to try to manipulate this as best as we can. So first of all, I think we might have to just bend the whole manifold round if we can. So I'm going to get a grinder in here, and I'm going to take off just this little edge there, just so it's got, if we do have to push it over, it's not going to get in the way of the gearbox. I'm going to be extra careful. I don't want to cut this.
I know it's very wishful thinking we're going to actually get the manifold to bend over that far, but I'd rather just do it now and get it out of the way. And then next, we're just going to heat the living shit out of this manifold.
So as you can see, it's definitely bent over and it's pushed in as well. Now this isn't going to be good for the exhaust flow, but what are you going to do about it? What are you going to do about it?
It's never gonna work. It's literally never gonna work.
I think we've got to go a bit extreme. I think we're gonna have to just risk ruining this manifold. I think I'm gonna take the manifold off and get it in the vise and just start pulling and bending it. I don't try to anyway. I haven't really got another option, to be fair. It's literally nowhere near. It's hitting at the bottom here. So I think we're gonna get it off the engine and just see what, I don't know. I don't even know if it's worth doing it on the engine or we're fucking miles off, mate. Right, well, what the hell are we going to do? Well, let's put it in the vise and let's just see. If not, we'll run it without any manifolds.
So the manifold is flat here and it comes whoop. We kind of want it to not come as woof, but come woof. So I'm going to heat the shit out of this bit and I'm going to try and bend it around with a bar.
Right, we're going to need some heat, boys. So I'm going akimbo.
This is a long shot, but I'm going for it. I've got nothing else to fucking lose. So it is actually straightening it out.
Okay, we're literally so close. I mean, I don't know how it's going to drive, I'm not going to lie. Obviously, I also realised that my lambda sensor wasn't plugged into the sides. It's probably why it was not idling very nice. I have ruined this lambda sensor by doing this, so I need to order another lambda sensor. We're literally, we're so close. It's just when it drops down on the engine mount, it hits. And then Harry from Gaz Shocks literally just sent me a text and said, would lift the engine not work? And I was like, yeah, it would. What we're going to do is we're going to take the engine out again, and then I'm going to put spacers on the top of the engine mount, just a little bit. We literally need a little tiny bit, and that's just going to lift this side of the engine up, and then hopefully we'll clear the steering rack. Right, the engine is in, it's lifted. I'm not even going to look, I'm just going to turn the steering. But it's close, but we're clearing it. Oh, no, it's not, it's hitting there. This is why these things take so long. You spend a full day of just trying to get something to clear. This is why shit like this takes so long.
So it's close, so you can see where it's just touching there. It's actually just marking the steering column a little bit where you can see. So I reckon just a little bit more hammering there, and we'll get some proper size washers. So we'll get some custom washers which are actually like the same size as the bolt and the same width as the engine mount, and I think we'll be okay there. It's just touching.
So that's the engine out for the 4th or 5th time today, but there was literally one little bit on the manifold that was just sticking out, and that's what was scraping the knuckle, and I think it's going to clear.
Okay, we've took a little bit more off with a grinder and with a hammer. I'm confident that's going to clear. I really am confident. I can't go any more because I've really run through the risk of blowing through this metal. And also, I've already bananaed it enough, and I know what people are going to be like in the comments. Oh my god, you've ruined the flow, you've ruined the flow. It is what it is. If I get in and it's slow as we'll figure something out. But for the time being, I don't think it's that bad. It's a little bit thingy inside, but it's nothing that, I mean, it's a 280 horsepower car, do you know what I mean? It really doesn't really matter, I don't think. And if it does, we'll get Zordsworks and make a custom manifold. It is what it is. I want to drive the damn thing. I don't think it's going to make any difference. I've ordered some M10 by 45mm washers, which is going to perfectly replicate the top of this, so we don't have to run dodgy washers like this. So they're going to be here on Monday. Time being, I'm not going to put it back in the car. I'm confident. Worst case, if I've got to take a little bit of material off the outside of the steering column, we can do that as well. I don't think it's going to be a big deal. We can even take that to Gaz and put it in the lathe and just take like a little bit all the way around. So obviously we're not just doing it with a grinder. So I'm confident. I actually think that's going to be fine. But I'm not going to touch that manifold anymore. What we're going to do is we're going to carry on doing some things. We need to actually make the steering column. So the one I've been using right now, that is one I've borrowed off Harry.
So I've just ordered a new lambda sensor off eBay. It's 30 quid, just because I didn't take my time and take it out before smacking the shit out of the manifold. We live and we learn. We need to take this steering knuckle off because that's Harry's. Now we know it's going to work, so what we're going to do is we're going to start making ours. So I've got a stock a stock Corsa C1. Well, I did have stock Corsa C1 here, so that's what Harry's is. And then this is the E30 one. We need to take one of the ends off here and we need to transfer it over to the new one. Now, I've been worried about doing this because it's really scary and we have to transfer the bearings. So I watched a guy on YouTube and he did it the wrong way first and then he said just cut them. So we're going to do some grinding and I'm really scared. Basically, I'm going to copy Harry's. We need to remove this end and put this end on this end and not ruin the bearings. And it's a tough job, but we're going to do it. But second of all, or first of all, I've noticed that in the LS400 engine, we have a bit of a sump leak. We've got a leak from the sump. You can see it literally right there. So what we're going to do is we're going to drain the oil, take the sump off, we're going to clean the sump off, and we're going to reseal the sump. This is probably good practice because the service history on this car is not good. So I'm glad we're actually changing the oil. And this sump has never been removed. It was a nightmare to get off. It actually took me ages just with a little screwdriver and a bit of a hammer. Now everyone has their own preferred method of how to clean off a sump. I've always used a wire wheel and it's never leaked and I've never really done any damage. So that works for me. Clean it all off in the engine and just put some nice sealant around it. So using this as a reference, we need to transfer this top U to this. So we need to get rid of this U, but we need these roller bearings. So we need this cross thing. So what we're going to do is we're just going to cut this one, chop this one off there, and hopefully we can just push them away from the actual bearings. And then the tricky bit comes with trying to get this one off, but let's do one thing at a time. Now the other guy on YouTube actually ended up pressing out. He tried to press out these bearings to get this top off. And by doing that, by pressing them out, he ruined multiple bearings. And in the end, he says he wished he just used the grinder more as much as he could. So what we're going to do is we're going, instead of trying to press these through, we're going to chop this off. And that's just going to leave us with the square. And then with this not in the way, we can put a grinder straight through the middle of this square because we don't need this square because we're using this square. The bearings actually have these tabs at the end and I assume it's just to stop them falling out even though they are pressed in. But we need to knock these tabs out, otherwise we're not going to be able to press them out. So I'm just going to grind off one of the squares just so they easily come out, get it in the press and we can just push out the other side. There we go. The BMW U-joint, the Corsa C bearings, and then what we can do is, I think, is we can slide this onto here, like that, and then we'll just press in the good bearings from the outside. Okay, so I've got one side, I just pressed it flat. Obviously we need to go a little bit more, but I'm going to get both of them flat and then kind of like press them in together. So we're going to sit that on here, like this. Right, what we've got to do now, feels great as well. All we've got to do now is get the socket and just push it on all the way. I'm just going to press them until the bearings are even either side. I said about that. Yeah. Boom. Smashed it, mate. Now, I definitely didn't smash it because I did the wrong side and it doesn't fit onto the steering rack. So I had to do all of this again and I really wasn't happy about it. I can't actually believe I had to do that twice. That was honestly a nightmare. Like, seriously, that was honestly an absolute nightmare trying to do that. Not even once, but I had to do it twice. I'm trying to just put the rack in the car, and of course, Harry's one went on without taking the steering rack off, but mine just isn't. I just can't get it on without taking the steering rack off, unfortunately. So I'm going to have to pull the steering rack off, which is a pain because I've got the spaces in there. I'm going to have to put that back on. I swear to God, this best be the last time I've got to fuck around with the steering column. This best fit. It will fit, I know it will fit. But I'm going to be done after this because things are starting to go wrong. I'm starting to make mistakes. I'm starting to get hungry and I'm starting to not want to be here. So, yes. Is that dry yet? It's tacky. It takes ages to dry that thing. I hope this gives you a first-hand experience of why engine swaps are a
pain. I really do, because this has been a full day. This has literally been a full day, and I feel like I've not literally hardly got anything done. What's going on now? Why is this not going on? What's going on? Don't you start. It's just one thing after another. I can't believe it. Get here, you prick. I know why it's not going on. I know exactly why it's not going on. Because the guy in the video did the same thing. There's a locator thing. Yep. There's a locator thing. I'm gonna have to fucking grind it out. He's took his off. He's grinded his one out. Oh, for God's sake. I'm done with today, mate. Honestly. Absolutely done. I'm gonna have to get a tiny little Dremel or die grinder or something and grind out that locating spline. And I ain't doing that today because I'm done with today. So some people whinging about I ain't got much done in the videos and why I upload them. Because I've been here since 9 this morning and it's about 7 o'clock at night and I've been non-stop on this bullshit trying, you know. I actually started the video in a better position than I am now. For all you people in the comments saying I ain't getting stuff done, don't even start, because I'm going home and having a bottle of wine. See you later.